I recently attended a lecture by leading health and self-actualization expert Gary Knoll. I thought I was going to be learning tips about nutrition. However, I got something I completely didn't expect. He started with asking a few questions. How healthy do you want to be? How happy do you want to be? How creative do you want to be? How loving do you want to be? And he made a statement that really awakened this deep truth within me of many times we're living our lives in a fog of illusion. And he started sharing how he went to lecture at a spiritual retreat, and he noticed that the participants were being petty, engaging in malicious gossip, whining, complaining, and it just was all of this negative energy. And he asked, during his lecture, how can you even appreciate this lecture if you're going to go back and process this through the same conditioned mind? You'll just go back into the toxic world that you're living in and engage in the same destructive behaviors. He then started talking about a vegetarian, National Vegetarian Conference that he went to, and how these individuals at the conference were like mocking meat eaters. And it was as if they were like this elite group of individuals that were better than everybody else because they weren't eating meat. There was no compassion for individuals that hadn't converted. And yet they even lacked the vigor and energy of life. And then he talked about a business conference, networking business conference that he went to, much like Donald Trump's real estate conferences where 10,000 people attend and they pay $1,000 a person, and it was all focused on money and greed. He then mentioned being a keynote speaker at a major Earth Day event. It was a rally called focused on rejecting globalization. And he walked through the crowd a couple hours earlier, and he was just surprised at how many people were smoking cigarettes, littering, wearing jeans that were, designer jeans that were made in China at sweatshops, eating McDonald's, Kentucky Fried Chicken. And he was thinking, how can we be here rejecting globalization, yet it's the biggest thing that we are supporting at this event. Then he went to a New Age conference, and this is something that he called a place of lost souls. This is where he found that individuals were seeking something. As he's walking through the conference, he could see, becoming a master Reiki master, become a shaman in 3 days. Also things like take the secret home, 6-hour workshop, $1,000. So many things there that were, workshops ranging from, 6 hours to 3 days for up to thousands of dollars. And then as he's looking down the aisles, noticing that the areas where things were free, people were lined up for that quick fix. People wanting a shortcut, something to fulfill their life. And then he went to meet the event producer, and he asked, what is the purpose of this show? And the producer said, well, there's two things. One is the individuals. This is like the bottom of society. These are people that are lonely, disconnected, seeking something in life, and we're able to, attempt to fulfill that need. The second is the economy. I make money at the door, exhibitors, and it's a business franchise. Gary then went to his lecture, and he immediately changed the title and what he spoke on to how to live an authentic life and how to honor that spiritual side of your nature. And he decided that this was the last time that he was going to be speaking at this type of event, and this was over 20 years ago. Then Gary went on to give his 3-hour lecture, and in that lecture, it was so profound. It got me to rethink everything that I've been doing. For 35 years, Gary Knoll has been the world's leading consumer health advocate, instrumental in touching over 10 million lives. He's been on PBS over 20 times, he's written over 90 books, and he's dedicated his life to serving humanity. I've seen him firsthand stopping and feeding the homeless on the side of the street, and people, stopping him where he goes, and he engages and connects with everybody. And he doesn't do this with a fanfare. He's not charging people, and he comes from a different place. And recently there was a group of us that went to his home in Florida, and when we were there, I really got to see who he is and what he does and how he walks his talk. And one of the things that I realized is that everything that he says, he self-actualizes. He's not about ego, he's not about money, he's not about greed or power. And why do I give you this preface? It's because recently I was confronted with the dark side of this movement, this conscious health movement that Gary talks about in his lecture. For years I've been a leader in this industry in a small way, and I myself have been living an illusion, not walking my talk, making promises I don't keep, not exercising, taking care of myself, looking for that quick fix. And for 8 years I've been producing conferences and events, and I've seen the same type of people showing up, wanting to find those outside solutions. We have psychics there, and it's the room with hundreds of people lined up against the wall, and yet some of the key workshops where there's children and health and even how to create a successful marriage, and there's just a handful of people attending. As a producer, I've seen malicious gossip, people fighting, competitiveness. It's like, what is this world coming to? Then I was hit with this Mark Becker event, a man who owns the New Life Expo, who I've never met and hadn't spoken with, and he started personally attacking me. And I was surprised. And then, here I am thinking we're supposed to be a place of joining hands, connecting, working together to help the world. And it gets to this place of one up, what's in it for me, you can't play your game in my field, and this complete place of ego and competition. The supposed conscious health movement is not authentic. And so if the movement's not authentic, then what am I doing to perpetuate this movement with my work? This illusion that somebody else can fix us and our problems. I can't do this anymore. This series of events has got me to rethink everything, from Gary Knoll's lecture to Mark Becker's attack. I now realize that I must let go of this perpetual illusion, this illusion that I'm living and that I'm subscribing to and endorsing. And so now I'm going to be helping people, but helping people in a new way. So stay tuned. I'm starting over. It's a second chance to life.